Members of the company, this is your Places call. Places, please. Places for the top of the podcast. Places, please.
Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the glitz and not-so-glam of Broadway, education, and everyday life with Uncommon Sense. Join hosts Christopher Smith and Sharna Lopez as they bring you the best stories and shenanigans that seemingly prove how elusive common sense can really be. So take a little time for yourself to hang out with the dynamic duo Charnopher, and no leaving early, because you might just miss that 11 o'clock number.
Stand by music. Music, go.
Uncommon sense, the 11 o'clock
number. And we are Charnopher.
I wasn't talking this time during our countdown.
I know.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. I love how I pointed to you like on air go, and it was out of frame. Out of frame.
You're like...
Beep. Move it over.
Hey, Sharno fans. Sharno fans.
Welcome to this episode of Uncommon Sense.
Yes.
Sharna,
are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Are you ready, Christopher?
I'm so ready.
I'm so glad you are, because I feel like this week has been sort of a like hit or miss with me. I either feel ready to go or I feel like I want to crawl under a rock and take a nap, you know?
Yeah.
Today I'm feeling ready. Feeling ready.
Here we go. This is going to be a good day.
Boop, boop.
Boopity boop, boop, boop.
I feel like you get to facilitate this one more than me, so I'm going to just sit back over here and drink my coffee.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Okay? Here I am. I don't have a cute mug. Nobody look at my mug. I wish I had a cute mug.
I know.
Okay, time out. I have to talk about this. It's a travel mug for everyone who's not watching and listening. I drink most of my coffee out of travel mugs unless it's a weekend and we're just like sitting around on the couch. But I've got to say, it's hard to find a good travel mug that you like want to keep for your entire life.
Absolutely.
And this one, it's gone through, I don't know, look at a war. It's gone through an actual war. It's my favorite travel mug ever. And then I'll even go to buy a new one. I'll buy an expensive one. And it's not the same.
Mm-mm.
It's not, you have to have the right lid. You have to have the right size. It has to keep it hot. I want to drink it and not have it spill on me. Like I bought one from Starbucks trying to replace it. And I like.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's not, you had one job, create a travel mug, people.
Right.
Like.
And like, especially
so
with
anyway,
Starbucks.
This one is like one of our faves.
Great.
What?
I said, especially with Starbucks, I'm like, you don't have to make the mug, but maybe put some effort into finding a great manufacturer of said mug, travel mug. Because I don't know if you know this, Starbucks, but you, in fact, are a coffee place in which you serve hot
That
beverages.
is what you do.
Right. That is your one job.
You had one job. Anywho, so I don't have a cute mug today. I have my battered and beaten coffee tumbler, but she's a beaut.
There you go. She's a workhorse, if nothing else. And
don't worry, guys. We're not talking about coffee tumblers today, but I just, you know me and my squirrel moments.
Squirrel tangents.
I had one squirrel moment. Check.
So far.
Let's count them today. So funny.
But also, at least you have a mug. See, I don't even have anything today.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I always have the.
Well,
the
we're
mug.
kind of out of sorts today because we're on our non-usual recording day. So I'll give you some grace, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I could physically hand you a little coffee through my computer, I would.
Yeah. Here you go.
It's like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Willy Wonka. All right. So I want to talk today, and this was inspired by me being in this class a couple weeks ago. I want to talk today about teaching. And what I mean by that is teachers.
So generic. Umbrella topic.
Yeah.
Umbrella topic.
And mainly, I'm paring it down, don't worry. And mainly like teachers who don't really teach, or like what? Because I was in this class and the teacher said something that caught my ear, and I was like, what? And it was something like, there are teachers out there that just hand out material, do no teaching, and say, go forth and figure it out. And for some reason in my brain, I was like, that's not a thing. There's no way that's a thing. And yet, this is what she said. And I was like, but that's not teaching. I'm so confused. Like, I understand.
Is that actually what she said? Like those exact words? Like, here's a worksheet, read it and figure it out.
Exact words, no, but yes, essentially that was the thought, that they would just basically hand out material and go forth. And
yeah,
I mean, I sort of do that, but after I like teach and like explain the concept and work through it with them, and then I'm like, okay, go practice, implement what we were talking about.
Right.
But I actually like told them how to do it.
There's a balance to it, right? So like, if you're not actually going to teach them something, then there's no point in you being a teacher. I think there's a huge part in independent work and problem solving, and it builds, you know, those skills, but there has to be the initial teaching, and then there has to be like the checkpoints, right? Like the corrections or the guidance or whatever it may be.
The assessments.
But yeah, yes. And I have had a couple instances where I've seen that happen, or I've heard students tell me, and I honestly, I think it's lazy first and foremost.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's a attribute of someone, a teacher being lazy, and also a teacher not wanting to teach. It's like when you go, I point this out to my own kids all the time, when we're somewhere and we're getting customer service, and I'll use air quotes because that's term is used lightly. And I will go off. I'll be like, guys, if you ever decide to go into a customer service job of any kind, this is a perfect example of how not to do, like there's zero customer service. Like the sign should have said non-customer service counter.
Right.
Like, and it's true. It's like, if you don't want to teach, please don't be a teacher. It's totally fine. There are lots of other jobs you could do.
That's right. Yeah. So that just like caught me off guard, because that, like, I have very few moments in my life where I just can't seem to process something, or something doesn't, I'm not aware of something being out there that's not great. But for some reason that just like did not think to be a possibility for me. And then I was talking to what I'm going to say is my friend Jack, because, and I say that in air quotes, and friend, because I don't actually want to say who it is, because they tutor students around here. Because I have stories from this human, and some of them are like, I'm sorry, what? So we'll start with the first one. So there's a history teacher, and he or she had an extreme tendency to assign projects that required coloring. Now keep in mind, this is high school. Required coloring. And not only did they have to do a lot of coloring as a sophomore and junior, but it also affected their grade. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Is this third grade? We're worried about you coloring inside the lines as part of your grade?
I actually think there's a lot of 10th grade teachers who require coloring.
Well, okay. I need some explanation. I need some help. Charna.
Okay, I'm gonna be, before we started, you told me I get to be good cop.
Yes, you do.
But I'm gonna play a little bit of, is there a better term for devil's advocate? Because I don't really like that saying.
I know.
I'm gonna find one for the next time, because I use it a lot, and I'm gonna be the anti-hero. No, that's not right. I'm gonna antithesize.
Great. You're just gonna be the alternate viewpoint. Here we go.
That sounds very professional. Look at us, Charno fans. We're so smart. We were taught by teachers. Okay, so here's what I think. I actually, the second you said a history teacher and coloring and sophomore, I actually had like a moment back in time.
Okay.
Where I was so angry as a freshman. I was a freshman, not a sophomore, that I had to color this map in my history class. And I'm a color all day long. I love coloring. I'm totally fine with it. But I remember thinking, why? it's 11:30 at night. I have math homework. I have this homework. I have that homework. And I was more frustrated with the idea. Like, it wasn't the concept of coloring. It was that I didn't have the time, and I knew that I had to do other homework. And I'm like, this is busy work. This is stupid, right? On the flip side, alternate point of view, I do think there's something in what is the project and how much effort you're putting into it, right? So I even look at, so Sebastian's in 6th grade. Now in 2024, most of their projects are done digitally.
Yeah.
He does everything on an iPad, and it's a video project or it's a slide deck or whatever. Ruby's in 3rd grade, so it's still a little different, but there's something to be said about the whole package of a project, right? So if it's just like stuff thrown on there or things written down real quickly, like the whole brain is not being utilized, and like creating this certain project, use colors, use creativity, use your imagination. However, I think there should be varying degrees of that, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody has to color in the whole thing inside the lines, use 19, like, please use your creativity as you feel like you want to, because this project needs to have a little bit of color and personality.
Yeah.
And then there's that, right? And then the individual can choose what that means to them. That's sort of my perspective on it. I don't disagree with having them color things. I just think that it needs to be a little more for each individual.
That's great. I like that. Yeah. I'm on board. Yeah. I'm on board with that particular one.
Yeah.
This next one is the same history teacher, and they handed
this guy's getting thrown under the bus.
They handed out a work assignment, and which is great. Hand out a work assignment. I'm all about it, as long as you explain it and teach. And that was, they were working on class, and then the student finished it and brought it home, or he didn't finish it and brought it home to finish it. And the teacher got mad the next day that they took it home and finished it, because they were planning on spending time in class to work on it. And I'm like, well, first of all, maybe communicate that. Be like, hey, we're going to work on this tomorrow in class together. But again,
Please leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it just like registered in my brain. I'm like, that just means that you should have had something else planned for the day. Like, it does not need to be a whole nother day of work. But
totally. I think so. Actually, I can speak to this because we have high achieving students at our school. You know them, the ones that are like, can I work ahead? Can I do 9 versions of this? Can I? And I'm like, hold on, hold up. I have kids often who won't finish things. And I think our school's a bit different, and where in our conservatory section of school, we are encouraged to not give students homework.
Yes.
So I really veer onto the other side of things. But I'll have kids who at the end of class are like, I didn't finish it. I'm going to take it home. I'll do it at home. And I have to remind them, I have to physically say, like, out loud to the whole class, attention class, hey guys, it's okay if you didn't finish this, because we are going to have 20 minutes at the beginning of next class. Or, hey, we're going to have all of next class to finalize this, work on it. But if you don't communicate that to a student, and they're kind of an overachieving, I want to get things done student, then I could see them wanting to take it home and do it. And you, as a teacher, have to know what to say to the kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, there's something like working ahead. So I will say I was that kid. I was totally that kid. Like, I would finish the section and I'd be like, I'm going on to the next section. You know? And I remember when I finally took the SAT, I was so ticked. I was like, here we go.
You have to
gotta wait for all the people to finish this section. Can I please move on? You know?
Yeah.
And I was just a fast worker. And I think there's something to be learned in that, where it's like self-discipline and self-control, right? Like, good that you finished. So now you also can do this instead. I think it's one thing I've learned as a teacher over the years, especially artistic kids and kids who certain things they want to take a really long time with, and they're very meticulous, and then other things like, and they go right through it. And every kid is sort of different. And so having an alternate for them, it's one thing I talk a lot about with my new teachers that come in. Like, if you do not keep your kids busy, you have failed. If you are just like, cool, you're done, and there's 25 minutes left of class, failed's a strong word, but they're not going to stay on task. That's when they get bored. That's when they get in trouble. That's when they do things they shouldn't be doing. That's when they're kids. So even if it's something as simple as you can do X, Y, and Z when you are done with this section, or you can do X, Y, and Z when you are done. Even if it's, you can do your homework, you can read a book.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you listen to music on your phone. If you ask me, like, if you're very clear.
Yeah.
But I think saying like, don't move ahead or don't finish it. And, or if you don't finish it, communicate that, hey, we're going to do this next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Annoyed.
Oh man.
Annoyed with said teacher that we don't know.
Hashtag annoyed. So this next one's funny. It's funny, but not funny. This one's just this teacher on the first day of class. And now it's not their first day of class being like they're brand new. They've been there for years. Showed up an hour late to school.
What?
An hour for the first day of class in the school year.
Was there like a family emergency or a situation or something? Or we don't know.
We don't know, I guess. That's fair. We don't know. There could have been a situation. But there seemed to be no communication about it from the story I got. You know, like it was just randomly no teacher.
I find that that can be one of the trickiest parts of my position now that I'm in, because I am in charge of teachers. And I was actually just talking about this with a teacher yesterday. One of my teachers, it was a few weeks ago, like got stuck in like a not construction, like they had closed. She couldn't get off the freeway. Like they had closed it.
Yep.
And poor thing was like stress casing because, you know, she's like, there's no way I'm going to make it. And then it's my job to make sure that the students know where to go, that there's somebody there to monitor them, that maybe they go into the classroom next to them or they go into a different classroom or I step in there for a little bit or whatnot. Because things happen.
Absolutely.
But also like, you got to tell a friend, you got to phone a friend and let them know. You can't just like show up.
Use one of your lifelines.
I remember in high school one time, I think it was our chemistry teacher, maybe, because I hated chemistry.
Me too.
And the rule in high school, you can't just leave. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, teacher's not here, we're leaving.
Yeah.
But when we were in high school in 1902, like it was a lot more lenient. So I remember our chemistry teacher didn't show up for like almost 10 minutes. And we were all like, okay. So what's the plan? Are we all like going in the locker room? Are we all just like going to our cars? Are we all like, what are we going to do? You know, like we were like planning our escape route.
Right.
And then he showed up.
And you're like, oh.
But in college, I remember we'd have timers. We'd be like 10 minutes after class, we'd all like book it. Like if the professor wasn't there, because that's the rule, right? Like I think it was 10 minutes. And there were times that we were like, peace, we're out.
But then I'd be annoyed in certain respects because I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm paying how much to go here? Where's my teacher? Where's my professor?
But really, at college age, I wouldn't. I was like, I'm going to go back and take a nap. Now, or as a parent, I would be pissed. At 19 years old, I'd be like, sweet.
Peace
going
out.
back to my dorm.
Right? Let's go watch a movie, take a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's see what else is on this list. So, this one's kind of funny. A history teacher, again with the history teacher, passed out a map that was not accurate for the time that they were asking questions about. And it's like, you got to make sure that you have the right materials when you're teaching. It's like maybe.
Okay, wait. Can I chime in with something?
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to be the anti-hero today. That's not my term. It's not my term. This just reminds me of something that actually like is so frustrating and ridiculous to me that it's laughable. Like it's one of those, like you hit a level of ridiculousness that you're like, I just have to laugh.
Yeah.
I've had several instances, as a parent, as a administrator, as a person,
right,
where I'll get communication from teachers and I'm like, you teach children how to write sentences and this is the email you're sending me? It's sort of terrifying and also not. Like, what? What? How can you, friend, be in charge of teaching punctuation?
Right.
I feel like that's not in your area of expertise.
Oh my gosh.
And then I also am like, were they voicing it? Were they in a
Right.
hurry? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
But also, what? I'm
But
scared now.
I know, but
Um,
if it's like an official communication, maybe don't voice text it. Right.
Yeah.
Like
Get
a
the
quick-
get the map right. History teacher,
get
get
the
the map
map
right.
right.
What? Oh man.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, that was a special one.
I will say, like, it's funny because my subject that I still teach right now, broadcast journalism, has evolved and changed so much over the last 5 years, 10 years, from especially since I was studying it and working in that
Mhm.
field. And I think one of the things that I'm proud of is like, I tell my students, I'm like, y'all, I'm going to teach you the introductory basics to this and some really, really important concepts that you can use. But I'm not going to pretend that I know how to do like modern day video vlogging, blogging, TikToking, walking. I don't know that industry. And so I think sometimes, it's different for what we do. But if you're like a straight up history teacher, that map is sort of crucial, maybe is the right word.
Yeah.
To what you're doing.
Which, speaking of crucial things that you need as a teacher, this physics teacher was teaching about it's a conceptual question about inertia and momentum. And as Jack was helping his tutee.
Is that a word?
I don't know.
Is that a word?
I don't know.
A
Because
tutee.
it's like a mentor and a mentee,
Yeah.
a tutor,
A mentee, a tutor, and a tutee.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to put that in our notes to put it in the description.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a tutee struggling with a teacher situation?
Also,
listen in.
Also, do you know what tutee means in music?
Oh, Tutti.
Yeah. Well done for spelling. You can spell.
Yeah, because I can picture it on a page of music.
Yeah.
Does it mean quiet? Does it mean slow? Does it mean
It means all the
No,
people.
I don't know.
It means all the things.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
not have guessed that.
Yeah. Basically means
But
all.
I can picture it in my
Yeah.
brain, like seeing it in music.
Well done.
All the people. Look, we learned something new. Tutee.
Yeah. Tutee. Also the tutee. Anyway, so Jack was helping them. And and he was like, that's actually incorrect. Like, he was teaching incorrect physics information, like actually wrong. I'm like, okay.
And then what? So then my question is, where does one go from there? Like,
Yeah, I
do you
don't know.
tell your teacher they're wrong?
I know. I don't know how to handle that as a student. I mean, I guess you could be like, hey, I have a physics tutor who's like a physics expert, and they told me this. Can you explain why this is different?
Could you explain it? Yeah. This jogs my mind about my own kids at this age and their math. And if you haven't ever watched the comedian Nate Bargatze, anyone who's here, public service announcement to go watch his sets. He's so funny. But he has a stand-up bit on Common Core math.
Yeah.
And I think that I cried and peed my pants all in 3 minutes because it's freaking hilarious for people who are our age. I'd say probably people who are 35 plus. I think that's probably around where that math. But like my kids will bring home math and I look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, easy. Yeah. And they're like, no, mom, that's not how you do it. And I'm like, well, it is. It's actually the easy, normal, traditional, standard, takes one step way.
Right.
But you got to create a whole freaking production over here for your teacher. I don't know what they're doing. And then when they do it, I'm like, oh, look, we got the same answer. Mine took 3 seconds and yours took 3 weeks. So what is happening? Oh my gosh.
That's the name of this episode.
You
3
have to watch
seconds
that
versus 3 weeks.
I mean, but truly, or they have to find it like 6 different ways. And I'm like, I don't know. This is the answer. So I think sometimes like physics is different because if he's just teaching a concept completely wrong, that's different.
Yeah.
But I will say there are times like I look at, and I liked math. I went through AP calculus. Like I feel like math was somewhat of a thing for me in high school. I don't use any of that anymore. So attention, all humans who are in high school, if you do not plan on going into any sort of math field, you don't need to take calculus. Okay.
Yeah.
You just don't need to do it. But I find it to be kind of crazy where it's just like, okay, teacher, you don't know what you're doing math teacher.
exactly.
Because that's crazy town. That's crazy town.
And then it goes, okay, so now is it the teacher's fault or is it stupid, like, standards set by some idiot
that I
up
think
in
is
Sacramento?
the standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sacramento. I think that's the Common Core problem. But if the like this physics teacher, for instance, is just teaching a concept incorrectly, then that's the teacher's fault.
That's right.
No.
And speaking of math teachers, so this teacher of Algebra 2 spent over a month reteaching part of Algebra 1. Like, they didn't even start Algebra 2 for the first month and a half of class because they were worried about students transferring into the class and being behind. Now, granted, they didn't have any students that they knew were transferring in. And I'm like, okay, so now we've just wasted a whole month and a half of education for your entire class because you're worried about...
Because they were like stalling, like in case somebody was going to come in.
Basically. And it's like, how about you just worry about it when it happens?
And I understand review.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Like I understand, hey, we're gonna do a quick 2-week crash course review and add some new concepts in there. But as a student, that's when students get bored. That's when they check out. That's when they're
like, we literally just did this for a whole year.
Challenging them. Yeah.
People. So that
now I'm drinking out of my Stanley. Can you guys hear my ice?
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
There it is.
Sorry about that.
No.
But I just wanted you to know that I'm not drinking iced coffee. Anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
My tumbler is on my right and it's hot. And then my Stanley is on my left and it's ice water.
Sharna is
no
firing
one cares.
ice
Why did
today.
I just say that? All right. What's on your next?
Oh,
what's
gosh.
next on your list?
Next.
What's on your next?
Oh, there's a couple more things. I wanted to save one particular one for the end. Okay. So this one is a pretty good one. So this was a teacher. Does it say what type of teacher? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So this teacher brought in a bunch of board games because, it was a math teacher. Because apparently they spent very little time actually doing math. And so it was something for them to do. Because, I like my math students to spend most of their time playing board games when they should be learning math.
Yeah, that's like really in the curriculum.
Right.
For sure.
Totally in the curriculum. So one of them was Jenga, and it was in Spanish, which is like cool. There was like words written on the Jenga blocks.
Okay. That's fun.
So she didn't speak Spanish, or he, I don't know whether it's a he or she. But this teacher did not speak Spanish. And
I don't know where this is going, but it's already funny.
Oh, yeah. And so that's all fine and good, except maybe know what you're bringing to the classroom, because when students who did speak Spanish translated all of the words into English for the students to know what they were, it was an adult version of Jenga, like inappropriate adult
in
version.
Spanish.
Yeah.
I don't even have words. That's like hilarious and also awful at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, let's take a minute for parenting there. The teacher didn't bring that game in, right? The kids brought it in.
The teacher brought it in.
That's like bringing in Cards for Humanity and being like, I don't know what this game is, but it looks like it could be fun. Maybe we should just pass out some of these cards.
Yeah.
What? How do you, they just thought it was like Spanish vocabulary. Why in the world would you buy Spanish Jenga if you don't speak Spanish?
I don't know. Maybe it was given to them. Maybe it was just somebody left at their house.
Also, leave it at home. Not a good choice.
Not a good choice. Also, just don't bring a bunch of board games into class when you're supposed to be teaching math. It gets better, though.
That is hilarious. Also, there has to be games that you can play related to math. Like if you choose that there's a board game day, there has to be certain games that are like math related.
Yeah.
Do that.
Exactly.
Why are you playing Spanish Jenga?
So
sometimes though, Christopher,
I know.
Things happen. And you know what? I'm very, very fortunate that my teachers that I am in charge of, I'm very blessed with the way that they love what they do and they're prepared and they are passionate. And usually it's the students that I'm having to help.
Yeah.
But years ago, this happened a couple times at our school where not teachers that I worked with or for, but I would hear things
Mm-hmm.
and a very similar, like, just like, what are you thinking? Why are you bringing Spanish Jenga? Why are you coming in with no lesson prepared? Why are you letting kids wrestle in the classroom?
Yeah.
Why are you having nap time? Why are there are things that I'm just like, how special are you? You are really special. You're a special
Yeah.
teacher who maybe shouldn't be a teacher.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know what? They're probably great people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
I'm not hating on them as people, but
Nope.
like maybe they need some guidance.
Yeah. Just a little nudge in the right direction.
And I would even forgive the Spanish like mishap
Yeah.
because okay, we made a mistake. Oh my gosh, but like, why are you bringing Jenga in to the
Yeah,
math class?
That's the bigger
That's all.
question.
I'm going to go there.
Yeah. So then she got mad at them about something and decided to take all the board games away, which is fine. But then she eventually brought them back, and the Spanish Jenga came back again. She she never figured it out that it was bad.
They didn't tell her? Like the kids didn't tell her?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh my gosh. Also, that's kind of funny.
That's
like
so
if I was a
funny.
teenager, I'd be like, this is hilarious. Do you think I know there have been times that I've either said something, done something, something's going on, and like the joke's on me and the students don't say it.
Absolutely.
And I kind of want to like know what it is, but like then not like say I don't know, just to be like, oh my gosh, that's funny. Because I think it'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be so funny. All right.
Oh man. Hilarious.
So maybe I should end it with that one because that ended up being really funny. But this last one.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So funny. So this last one is.
Oh, you have one more?
Yeah, I have one more. This teacher wanted to make sure that his students did well on the test, we'll say. Okay. So he gave them all of the answers for the test the day before.
Okay.
And
wow. That's not a test.
That's not a test. And because, so normally I guess he might give them like the questions the day before, which also I'm like, then it's just a take-home test. But I guess that's fine. Yeah. But because it was only a half day, he didn't have time to give them all the questions and go through the questions. So he literally just gave them the answers. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go home.
Wait, what? Okay, wait. I don't think I'm understanding. So there wasn't a test. He just like told them all the answers and then they all got A's?
Pretty much. So he was like A, B, D, like gave them all the multiple choice answers, but didn't give them any questions. So there was no learning involved, just answers.
And do you
given.
think that's because he wanted like a passing rate, like a certain passing rate in his class? Like, look at my students that know their stuff. Okay, I love that this is kind of where we're trying to end this episode because it has now sparked part B conversation in our next episode.
Okay.
I would love to discuss test taking.
Okay.
And like this idea of assessing through tests and like your thoughts on that and sort of, and maybe we can even I have so many people that are like versed in mastery learning and all this kind of stuff, but that really brings up like a thought in my brain that I'm like, ooh, this is a longer conversation.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this particular teacher has that idea of like, I know these kids know this in my class. And I'm not saying it's right. It's actually completely wrong. Just don't even give the test then.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that's where it was coming from or it could be the other way where he's just like, I need my kids to pass this class, like for paper, like I need like paper purposes. And then you're just a liar.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So.
Because maybe they understand the concepts and he knew they couldn't take the test. Dang.
Well, then if you understand, then you as a teacher got to figure out, okay, how can I assess them? Again, going with assessments and proper assessments. Yeah. How can I assess them on, since I know they know the material in that case, like how do I assess that?
Also, something that look at us. I thought I was like done and signing off, but something that I know a lot of our students talk about, and not my own kids yet, because I think they're still a bit younger, and their school's different because it's smaller. But a lot of our students I hear discuss a lot and really maturely, honestly. They're not like complaining or being like, oh my God, this teacher.
Mhm.
That there's such a difference between math teacher 1 and math teacher 2.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, if you get math teacher 1's class, it's like this. And if you get math teacher 2 class, it's like this. Now, I remember that kind of being a thing when we were in high school, like, oh, you don't want to
Same.
get so-and-so. They're more
Same.
strict. However, we have evolved as humans, as a species, as people, as teachers, as an education system. I understand that much of it, some of it is personality driven. You know,
Yeah.
you get in Miss Lopez and Mr. Smith's class and you're like, let's go. These people are fun.
Right.
I hope that's what everyone says. You might get another teacher's class and you're like, this teacher's boring. Okay. Okay. That's personality.
Right.
But in terms of teaching concepts, evaluating, assessing, and grading, those things are not personality driven. And so I'm always so like how often I hear it. I'm like, how can math teacher 1 give you 3 weeks to do test corrections? And math teacher 2 is like, you don't get test corrections. I don't, that is not equal. It's not fair. And I don't care, like again, a personality thing. I tell students all the time, there are going to be teachers that you just don't like.
Yep.
And that's okay. There are going to be teachers that are boring. There are going to be teachers who are fun. There are going to be teachers who are grumpy. There are going to be teachers who are silly and cool. That's not the same thing as like actual concrete things they don't do the same. And I don't understand that. I want somebody to explain that to me.
Well, yeah, good luck on that journey.
But we have so many friends in education that I feel like I want somebody to be able, like, are there not checks and balances of like, hey, math, and I keep saying math, it could be any teacher. Hey, science teacher 1, you're not doing this. And this is what we agreed upon. Hey, science teacher 2, you're not doing this. And this is what we agreed upon as part of the science curriculum in 10th grade or whatever.
Okay, so you're making an assumption here. You're making an assumption that there was standards set for the teacher to do that. And maybe that's
so maybe
not the
there
case.
weren't. And everyone's just like flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah. So maybe that's the bigger question. Like that, there's so many things I'm like, with all the regulations and standards we have to do, like there's certain things that I'm like, how is that happening? Like what you said.
Right.
Like,
and again, I can get behind the personality differences.
Yeah.
I have to, oftentimes, you and I are like, you, me, our friend Parker, who we've had on, Maddie, Maddie came on? Yeah, Maddie.
Yeah.
I feel like there are people I work with that I'm like, our brains are the same.
Yeah.
Our personalities are the same. We work the same. We understand things the same. There are times that I step into a rehearsal room or into a classroom that I'm like, wait, what? No, like that's not, I wouldn't do it that way. And then I'm like, hold on, Charlotte, like they have their own personality. Like,
yeah.
like let them be their own person. You know what I mean? Because it's true. Like some people are going to approach things differently and that is okay.
Yes.
In my mind, of course. But if they're especially academically and there's like benchmarks and there's ways that you're supposed to assess and reassess, like I trip out on that. I think it's crazy.
Well, you do have to let people be themselves. Otherwise, we are automatons.
Spelling bee.
There you go.
Christopher's working on spelling bee right now. So we might have some spelling bee references. One of my favorite things I say randomly out of nowhere, and because Jerry's now seen spelling bee a handful of times, one of my favorite things in spelling bee is when he goes, "Pafef," and I just will randomly say that like in the garage. Pafef. I like want to be that part. I just want to say that part.
You are
It's so funny, right?
I would love to see
Come
Sharna
on.
as Barfay. That'd be so funny.
I mean, maybe one day.
I'll be
Pafef. He says it's so hilarious.
yeah. I'll be Marcy Park. There we go, because she plays the piano
Oh yeah.
and she gives
Yes.
good side eye.
I got to tell you, I'm so appreciative of productions that have a Marcy who can play,
Yeah,
and I think that's hard to find.
Yeah.
Especially in youth theater. When I did it at OSHA, our Marcy played. When you did it, she played,
mm-hmm.
right?
She did.
Yeah, Jessica Yang.
Yes,
Jessica
I still
Yang?
talk
Is
to
that
her.
her name?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. She was like, I had her in musical theater too. So I
That's true.
had her
That's
in
true.
class. Yeah, there's some kids. Isn't that funny how some kids like that face and name will stick.
Yeah.
And then there's some kids I'm like, I really liked having you and I actually like remember you. I don't know your name.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I don't want them to be offended, but I'm like, nope. Drawing a blank. Drawing a blank, friend. I can tell you what role you played and how many steps you messed up and what assignments you didn't turn in and how fun you were in class, but I cannot remember your name.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Like just the other day, Christopher, I was trying to remember when we did the number from 6 in Showcase, which was not that long ago.
No.
It was not that long ago. And I was trying to like count the kids on my hands and I'm like, there's this kid and this kid and this kid. And then I was like, I cannot remember the other kids.
Well, you know, there was,
that was
6
only
of
like
them.
3 years ago. I know. And I could only name 3, I think. Oh my gosh. I need help.
Look, I have, me and names, students always get so offended if I like blank on their name momentarily. I'm like, people of the nation, like, look, I am 3011. I am 3011. And
I haven't heard you say that in a long time.
yeah.
People of the nation.
I have 900 things in my brain. And your name is in there, but it may not be on instant recall at all times.
I think it's hilarious when they're new students and they get offended. And I'm like, you guys, if I don't know your name by 10th grade, then you can be offended.
Right.
You got to give me a 225 of you. Give me a second. Now, I got to tell one funny story. It's not related to teachers at all, but now we're on this tangent and it's hilarious. We have students in my conservatory that volunteer to help do leadership things throughout the year. And I love it. It's a really great program that we offer. And we had one student volunteer during one of our Saturday events, and they sat next to me and they helped me with like checking kids in and running music and getting kids around. And I was so grateful. It was a new student this year. They're in 9th grade, but they're a brand new student. I called her the wrong name the entire day. And she didn't correct me. Like, I'm not talking like 20 minutes.
Right.
Literally, we were there for 6 hours.
The whole day.
Yes.
Oh.
And the whole day, like I probably said her name 50 times.
Right.
Incorrectly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even close. And then at the end of the day, when I said, thank you, so-and-so, she said, you know what, Mrs. Lopez, that's not my name. And I didn't know whether to cry or laugh or throw something. I was like,
all of the above.
What? Just correct me. Like, Queen, I just met you this year and there's so many kids, like, and now I feel horrible.
Yeah.
So now we're going to laugh about that, I think, for the
absolutely.
rest of our time. But like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. And also help a girlfriend out. Like,
right? Like, just tell me. Because now you watch. Now you spent an entire day calling her the wrong name. And now that's going to happen again.
Yes. Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh. So
letting
that's
her
a
know.
public service announcement. If anybody ever calls you the wrong name, just tell them up front.
Yeah.
I think I've had to deal with it a lot my whole life. So maybe I'm a lot more in tune with it. Like, oh, it's Charna. You can say Charna 49 times. I will tell you. I will let you know.
Every
It's
time.
Charna. It's not that hard. It's just like Chardonnay and Champagne and Chandelier.
That's
All
right.
of those things are easy to say. Nobody says Chandelier or Chardonnay.
Although you could like have a Chardonnay that's infused with like Swiss chard, and then it would be Chardonnay.
Oh my gosh, where did that come from?
When you-
Wait, what? That's so perfect. That's so random.
When
Chardonnay infused with Swiss chard. Nobody's listening anymore, by the way. Everybody's logged off and nobody's listening to us.
So it was just when you said Chardonnay, it just came into my brain because of chard. Swiss chard.
It was really clever. It was really clever.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have no fun on our podcast. Okay,
Nope.
for the 2 people who are still listening, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Christopher's like crying right now, you guys, if you can't see it. He had to wipe his tears. He had to remove his glasses and wipe his tears.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. check us out on uncommonpod.com if you want to know more about us, maybe get some merch, like and subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at Charnopher Official. And on that note, Charnopher out.
Paf! I can't. It's not even that funny, but it's so funny.
Oh my
Come on,
gosh.
Charnopher.
Bye.
I'm sorry.
Bye, everybody. We gotta go.
This concludes another episode of Uncommon Sense. If you're ready for more of this fresh, hilarious, and unique perspective on the world of entertainment, education, and life, be sure to subscribe right now to catch every episode. If you gasped, laughed out loud, or even snorted, share the show with your friends and aspiring entertainers because, let's be real, sharing is caring. For more Charnopher, tune in to their witty insights by checking out the website uncommonpod.com or connecting on social media. Tune in next week and get the real insider scoop on another episode of Uncommon Sense.